Let's start today's episode.
Welcome back, period besties. We have a special treat in store for you today. My friend Nicole, who I've known for years, is joining us, and I just cannot wait to hear about her journey and share everything that she has learned over the years with all of you. So, Nicole, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
All right, we are going to jump right in. How did you heal yourself from chronic illness when no doctor couldn't help you?
Yeah, it was such an intense time in my life. So, to give you a little bit of background, I suffered from an autoimmune condition called ulcerative colitis that had kind of plagued me on and off for over a decade, honestly. And at the beginning of that journey, I handled it with medication. I would go see my gastroenterologist. He would give me medication. It would calm the symptoms down. And I'd go back to living normal life until stress would come up again. And then I would get flare ups because I really noticed this correlation between stressful experiences happening and these flare ups showing up in my life. And then I started having babies. And I noticed that after every pregnancy I had, whether it resulted in a live birth or a miscarriage, because I have two beautiful children, but I had three miscarriages. After every single pregnancy, I also got these horrible flare ups that happen right after. So it was like, wow, stress hormones and flare ups and pregnancy hormones and flare ups. Okay, hormones and flare ups. That's what I kind of noticed being a pattern that was showing up. Well, when I was pregnant with my daughter, I had a horrible experience with this illness, with these bleeding ulcers, and I was stuck having to take all this medication throughout my pregnancy. So I was on all these steroids and all this stuff, which is the last thing you want to do while you're pregnant. But the doctor said if I didn't take the medicine, I would lose the baby. So, okay, fine. So I took the medication. I had a beautiful daughter. And the thought popped into my head, okay, after every other pregnancy I've had, I've always had this horrible flare up of this condition pop up, but I'm already taking the medicine now. So do I stop taking the medicine now, or do I keep taking it in the hopes that maybe it'll prevent this flare up from happening? It didn't. I wound up getting a horrible flare up anyway while on all the medication, which basically rendered the medicine useless. So I went to see all of the specialists, and no one had any answers for me. The doctors pretty much just said, your body is attacking itself, which is their definition of anything autoimmune. Your body is attacking itself. We don't know why. And you're basically going to just be stuck with this for the rest of your life. And I thought, no, that's not going to be my story. I pretty much just rejected that flat out. And I said, I'm going to heal myself. You watch me. And I just marched out of the office with that intention. And, Katie, obviously, I had been running a corporate wellness company for many years. So I was in the wellness industry, surrounded with a ton of different wellness and healing practitioners. And I thought, I've got the network to be able to figure this out. So it started on this beautiful journey to try to heal myself naturally. And that journey took me to working with over 60 different healing modalities. So, I mean, when I say that I've tried everything, I can really tell you I tried everything to heal myself. And I received some beautiful healing miracles along that journey that just would blow your mind.
Well, I want to hear about all of them, but 60.
Yeah.
And I can just see you just holding your head up high and marching out of there and just having that in you, that belief that you could do it. I've
Yeah.
had similar thoughts along my own healing journey as well.
Yeah, I often say being stubborn is the one quality I've really got that carries me through everything. Like whenever you have to do those, how did you make it? Just sheer stubbornness, just refusal to quit.
Totally. Well, your mindset is everything, honestly,
Yeah.
because if you have a choice when you're faced with something like this. You can either become a victim where you fall down into the depths of despair and you're just life is happening to me and you're feeling sorry for yourself and you're just floating through. Or you can rise up and believe in yourself and trust that there's something more for me. And I always believed on this journey that there was a reason why my body was behaving this way. I didn't believe the doctors saying your body is attacking itself. That never resonated with me because our bodies are self-healing. You get a cut and you put a band-aid, and within a couple of days, it just heals itself. We are self-healing. The problem is that we block ourselves from healing because when you are in a constant activated stress response state, your body cannot heal. We heal while we're sleeping. If you're not getting enough sleep, you are really inhibiting your body's ability to heal. So, what I've learned in this big journey that I've taken, one, is that there are so many different ways to heal the body. And I'll get into that in a little bit. But two, it's like you just need to get all of the blocks out of your way so that your body can finally do what it's designed to do, which is to heal itself. We just get in our own way. So, illness, what I've come to discover, isn't our enemy, it's a messenger. Your illness has important information to share with you, and it's often that there's something out of alignment in your life. You're maybe not living your truth. Maybe there are old wounds that you need to heal within yourself. There's burdens that you're carrying that are holding you down that you were never meant to carry forever. And the moment that we can really start to peel those layers away and really get to the root of it all, that's when everything can just change.
Yeah, I love that. And I feel like so many of the women we work with, just the stress itself, right? And carrying that for years and years, or family stress. I mean, stress is the reason for pretty much everything that doesn't feel
Yeah.
right in our bodies, right?
Yeah.
And as you were talking, I was like, every person listening right now is going to totally relate to that because we carry so much more in our bodies than anywhere else.
Absolutely. I agree with you completely. One of the things that I've really learned on this path is that there's 5 layers of healing. And the most outermost layer is that physical layer of healing. And that's where Western medicine mostly plays. And that's where most people focus on is that physical layer. So, what can I do with my body physically? Obviously, I can take medication, I can take supplements, I can focus on my diet, I can detox my body, I can do body work, I can do surgery. Those are the types of things you can do physically. And that's where most people usually focus and they stop right there. And sometimes that's all you needed, quite frankly. Like if you can change your diet and do a little detox and you might have a great result from that. And that was enough for you. But if you do all those things and you're still suffering from something, you need to go a little deeper. And the next layer is your mental layer. And that's where we look at stress levels. And that's where we go, okay, how much stress are you carrying? Are you in an activated stress response all the time? And then it's also mindset. So, what are the stories that you're telling yourself? And what are the belief systems that are really operating at that level? Because, like I said before, your mindset is key. If you believe that you can do something, you're halfway there. If you don't believe you can do it, you're never going to get there. So, that's a deeper layer to look at. And so then we want to start, okay, what can I do to start regulating my nervous system? How can I calm my body? How can I design my day for greater balance so that I'm not feeling completely overwhelmed and stressed out all day long because my body can't heal when I'm in that activated state. So, how can I start to prioritize joy? How can I start to prioritize fun? Because that's the antidote to stress. Joy is the antidote to stress. If you're trying to have a balanced life where two things are in equilibrium and you have all these stressful moments up here all day long, the only way to bring it into balance is to give yourself enough joyful self-care and nourishing moments to balance out the stress. Because unless we're going to quit our jobs and leave all the toxic people behind and go live on a, deserted island or something by ourselves, like you can't get rid of the stress. Like it's just part of life. So it's not about how do I get rid of the stress. It's like, how do I neutralize it? How do I balance it out? Sometimes, and I've seen for myself too, that when I started letting some stress go in my life, I did start feeling better. That definitely helped. Now, did it get rid of everything for me? No. So then you go, okay, like what is one layer deeper that I can go? And now we get to that third layer of healing, which is your emotional layer. And that's where we look at, okay, where am I holding emotional trauma in my body? That's when you can start talking to your illness, to your symptoms, and notice like, what message do you have for me? What is this connected to? What happened the first time that this showed up? What is the bigger information that this has? Because it's not random. Illness is never random. It is here for a reason, it's here for a purpose, and it's largely to wake you up. So anytime we go through really deep traumatic experiences in our life where we don't give ourselves permission to fully feel everything, our body stores it and we store it in our tissues and it just like festers because it's an energy. Our emotions are energy in motion. The emotions are supposed to flow through us. We get sad and we allow ourselves to feel the sadness and we allow ourselves to cry it out until there's no more tears and we just let it out. Or like the anger comes in and you allow yourself to feel all that rage and all that anger and express it out so it leaves your body. The problem is that when we run away from it because it's too overwhelming, we don't give ourselves, we swallow back our tears, we swallow back the anger that we're feeling. We swallow things down. And when we do that, it just festers. It's real energy and it creates imbalance in the body. It creates dis-ease within the body. So, doing emotional healing work is a powerful way. And sometimes that's what needs to come out. I mean, I had one experience with the ulcerative colitis that I was working with a Reiki master, and she literally pulled all this grief out of my body from when my dad died. And I didn't realize how much grief I was still holding inside of me, and letting all that out, the symptoms literally disappeared. That was one of the times that it just they went away because it was really connected to that pain that I was holding inside of me. And that, when I dug a little deeper, was about abandonment wounds, right? Because he left me and that was heartbreaking for me. So that's that third level of healing. And then the fourth layer is the energetic layer, which is, are your energy channels open? This is where Chinese medicine lives and plays, right? So there's acupuncture, there's qigong, acupressure, and in the yogic system, it's the chakras, right? Like, are your energy centers open in the body or are they closed? If your life force, your chi, your prana can't move openly in your body because you have blockages, that's going to lead to disease, that's going to lead to symptoms, to pain, etc. So in the Chinese medicine system, you can do some acupuncture where they put a little needle right here and like, whoa, all of a sudden my stomach pain is gone or my back pain is gone. You're like, this is a miracle. And it's because that channel was blocked. So looking at your energy channels, is your energy open? And doing some energy work is powerful. And sometimes that's why you can have real physical relief from energy work that you do. And then that fifth layer of healing is the deepest layer of all. And this is where I play the most as an Akashic light healer. It's that spiritual soul layer of healing, which answers the question, why did this even happen in the first place? What created this? What is happening here? And that is the most powerful place. So, on this journey that I went through, I worked with some powerful healers that blessed me with overnight spontaneous healing miracles. Like one time, I was literally bleeding for a year and a half straight. And I went to see this Chinese divine healing master who had abilities beyond anything you can comprehend as possible. And this woman literally healed me overnight. I was bleeding for 547 days in a row. And then, like that, the next day, it was gone. Like she handed me my life back. And it was the miracle that I really needed because I was so, so sick at that time. I had to stop nursing my baby because it was too depleting on my body. I'd gotten down to like 100 pounds. And literally, this woman manifested medicine out of the thin air. I'm not even kidding. Crazy, crazy stories. So I have had a lot of those kinds of crazy stories. One time I had an overnight healing miracle working with an Amazonian medicine called Kambo, which is tree frog medicine. And this was like a crazy thing because I remember I had been sick for an entire year straight and I had tried everything that I had done before and none of it had worked. And I got on my knees and I prayed. I'm like, God, show me how to heal my body. And I promise I will help everyone else heal. And I immediately went into this meditation and I got this vision of me doing a combo ceremony. And that shocked me because I knew nothing about it. Nothing. Like someone had told me about it once years before and I never looked into it. It wasn't something on my mind, you know? So to receive a vision like that, I just trusted it. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to do this. And literally like within a week I had it all set up and I had to do 3 ceremonies in a row and it's not a pleasant experience because you have to like this shaman literally takes a little stick and they light it on fire and they burn holes into your skin and then they take this frog medicine and put it on there and you feel it in your body within like 30 seconds and it's a purgative, so eventually you have to, release it, throw it up, or the other way out, like it's got to come out of you. But the good thing is it only lasts 20 minutes. And I was like, okay, I can handle anything for 20 minutes, right? If it was like all day, I don't know, but 20 minutes, I'm like, I can do. And yeah, the next day, the symptoms were gone. So that was just like another miracle. So I had all these miracles along the path, and yet the symptoms still came back again later. And I was like, why? Like, why? What is this? What is this pattern? Like, why does this happen? And I really found my answers finally when I found the Akashic Records.
Can you talk to us about that? Because I've heard of it. I have friends who work with it, but it is not something that, a lot of people know about or even heard or maybe saw and are like, I don't even know how to pronounce that, right? So
Yes.
can you walk us through just what that is for the listeners and everybody so we're all on the same page?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Akashic Records you can think of as a doorway to your soul. And it's basically like an energetic archive of every experience, every memory, every thought, every emotion, every single thing your soul has ever gone through throughout every single lifetime you've ever had. And so when I'm working with someone and I'm accessing their Akashic records, so like if I was working with you, for example, I would access your Akashic records. I would be able to basically channel anything you want to know about because all of the information you have ever wanted to know about anything about your life, it already exists inside of you. It's already in you. We just don't remember it. So it's about how can we access the subconscious part of the mind where all of the memories of the soul are stored so that you can finally get the information, the insight, the clarity of whatever it is that you're looking to know about. And so for me, it was like, okay, the very first Akashic session I ever did with my teacher, she pulled up 3 past lifetimes that had the most impact on my life today. And one of them was actually the source of where this colitis started. And it blew my mind. It was a really traumatic lifetime. And I will tell you that as an Akashic healer, when I'm working with someone, usually they're trying to resolve issues and challenges in their life. So whenever we're going to ask, like, what's the source of this difficult thing that I'm dealing with right now? It's going to be connected to a really difficult experience that your soul already had, that's unresolved, that has all of these active energetic connections that are still intact, that are pulling into the lifetime for you to resolve because your soul genuinely wants you to figure this out and be done with it. But there's lessons you're supposed to learn, there's wisdom that you're supposed to gain from this. And so it's not just about how do I make it go away? It's like, how do I integrate those experiences in? What was I supposed to learn from that? And how do I integrate that part into my life? And then we can release the energetic connection. So, before we're born, we come into this life wanting to be here. There's experiences that our soul wants us to have. We have lessons we want to learn and master. And then we have a purpose that we want to fulfill in this life. This life is not random. This life is very much on purpose. And a lot of those lessons that we bring into this life to master are based off of old stuff that we didn't get right before, that we're like, got to do it now. So we create all of these soul contracts with all the important people in our life before we're born. So you have a soul contract with your parents that they're going to be the mom and you'll be the daughter this time, or they'll be the father and you'll be the daughter this time. But it's not random. We go, okay, like what's the purpose of that soul connection? Oh, okay, like you're here to teach me unconditional love in this lifetime, and I'm here to teach you patience. Like that's the purpose of that connection. Sometimes those relationships that we choose them because that person is going to support us on our journey into becoming who we're meant to be. But sometimes we choose it through conflict because that person is going to challenge us and to rise. So if your soul comes into this life and says, what I want to master in this lifetime is really being in my power. I want to master being in my power. I want to master, sharing my voice powerfully in this lifetime. You might choose the family dynamics, like parents and a family lineage, that is going to try to make you small and push you down over and over and over again so you can finally find your power and rise up. And it's in the overcoming of that experience that you finally get to be who you came here to be. And you can really fulfill this purpose that you chose. So we set all that up and we have these tethers with those souls. But then as soon as we're born, we have free will. We get to make our own choices. And sometimes we have these soul contracts, not just with different people, but also to do certain things, to be a healer, to be a teacher, to be an athlete, to do stuff. And with our free will, we sometimes make our own choices. And sometimes those are aligned with our big soul plan. And sometimes they're not at all. And that's okay. Sometimes we make deals and agreements with people in that life, and those hold real power. Sometimes we make vows, we make promises, and those hold power. Like that prayer I said, God, show me how to heal myself, and I promise I'll heal everyone else. That was a vow that I made in this lifetime. I understand that now. I didn't back then, but I understand it now. And that can hold power. Every experience that we go through, we create these belief systems that are energetically attached into those experiences. And those are in the subconscious part of the mind. So that's why, let's say you're going through your life and you're having all of these financial struggles and you're doing the affirmations and you're like, no, I'm a money magnet. Money comes to me easily. And you're trying to say all these things. And yet in the background, you have a belief system that says, no, I'm not safe with money because you had a lifetime where you got money and did some bad stuff with it. So you have this experience that was painful in that's like, no, like it's not safe for you to hold this. And so it's canceling out everything that you're consciously trying to do. So being able to pull away those layers and understand like, what's the source of this is so powerful. So in my records, what was the source of the colitis? Well, it was connected into a past lifetime where I did some not so great things. Okay. And there was a karmic wound attached to it. Now, anything that's a repeating pattern in your life is connected to a karmic wound. And a karmic wound happens when we go against our soul contract. We didn't just not fulfill it. Okay. We don't fulfill soul contracts all the time. You get to the end of your life, you do your life review, you're like, okay, what did I do? Oh, I did this one. Yay, good. I evolved, I grew, I learned. But then you're like, oh yeah, that kind, no, shucks, didn't do that. Okay, let's do it again in the next lifetime, except this time let's be brothers, or this time you be the mom and I'll be the daughter, or whatever. Like we change, we tend to do life with the same souls over and over again. And so you can do it again. But when you actually not just didn't fulfill the contract, when you do the opposite of it, that's when we create these karmic wounds. And so that's when a pattern repeats in life. So for me, the pattern was illness recurring over and over again. For someone else, that pattern might be calling in the same bad relationship again and again and again. Or maybe someone has a pattern in their career where they're working on a big project and they get to the very end, but they can't quite get it over the finish line. It's like someone pulls the rug out from underneath them every single time at the last second. I mean, it could be any kind of pattern that just shows up in your life, but it's connected into some kind of wound. So that was the biggest source of it. And I remember when we were in that lifetime, I felt this shooting pain in my gut. And I was like, oh, and I said, is this the source of the colitis? Yes. And I was like, and as soon as I went through that experience, I was like, dude, I'm in. So I dove right deep and I did Akashic training and I decided to really become an Akashic healer. And as I did that, I realized, gosh, I've been doing this for lifetimes. I have been a healer again and again and again. It came to me so naturally. So I'm like a super wide channel. So when I work with someone, I just clear my mind. I'm connected into their soul and I just ask a question and it just comes through me. So I'm very claircognizant, which means the information hits my brain. I just speak it. I have no idea what I'm about to say and it just comes right out of me. But I'm also very clairsentient. So I feel things very strong in my body. So when I'm connecting with someone else and I'm going into a life experience that they had, and it could be in this life, it could be a past life, it could be something from their family lineage, like a generational wound that we go into their family's lineage to understand about, I will literally feel that sadness. Like I can feel the pain. I can feel so much in my body. And I actually transmute a lot of it through my body. It's just one of my gifts. And I'm able to actually feel things that my clients aren't able to feel themselves, especially if it's something really like traumatic from their childhood that they kind of dissociated from. I can feel it for them so that it can be released for them. So that was part of it. There were four other lifetimes that were attached into that too. That was just the original one. But then as I started carrying on my journey, I was doing a healing session for my uncle when he was getting ready to pass away from lung cancer. And I asked, like, what's the source of this lung cancer for him? And there was a family lineage wound on our family that went back 7 generations. And when I dove into that, I realized that was affecting me too. So I was one of 24 souls that were impacted by this. So a generational wound is something that happens whenever you notice that there is a pattern of anything that happens in your family. Oh, there's all cancer runs in my family, right? Which it does in mine. Like cancer runs in my family, or there's a lot of miscarriages and pregnancy losses and childbirth losses and things like that. Like that was very common. That happened in my family too. Or maybe it could be financial things it could be like anything, honestly. So the reason that happens is because there was an ancestor, however many generations back, and I can tell you how many generations back it was, that went through a trauma that was so deep. It's literally the deepest level of trauma that there is, that it actually embedded into their DNA and got passed down through the lineage. And so I can tell you, okay, gosh, this goes back 7 generations. And then is it on the mother's side or the father's side? It's the mother's side. Okay, so who is it? I'm like, all right, this is your father's father's mother. I'm like, your mother's mother's father's father's mother's mother. I'm like, okay, this is your like great grandmother on this side of the family. And then I can literally tell you everything that happened to her. The whole story will just channel right through and I can tell you what happened, what was the wound, how it affected her. Are there unresolved soul contracts? Are there deals, agreements? What are the belief systems that got passed down through the lineage? Are there lost soul fragments, lost pieces of herself that got stuck in that experience, that creates an anxiety that just gets passed down? How many souls are affected by this in your family line? How is this impacting you personally? So, for me, that family wound that I went into this time, and it was the first time I ever did a generational healing for my uncle, it was a persecution wound and it was affecting him in terms of his lungs and how he was breathing. But for me, that came across as illness because they were persecuted for their religion, and so they had to hide their religion of like who they really were. And when you have to hide the truth of who you are, it creates disease in the body. And so that could show up differently for different people, but that was one of the layers for me that needed to be cleared. Now, when we healed this, my uncle's cough, he was like literally in the final stages and he was having this horrible painful cough. His cough disappeared, like straight up, just gone as soon as we cleared this. And it was amazing. And I noticed some symptoms my son was having that just disappeared as well. Boom, it was just gone. And it just blew my mind. I'm like, what? This is so crazy. And then the final like layer for me with the illness was that I had a soul contract in this lifetime to be sick. And I thought, what? I have a soul contract? Like my soul chose to be sick in this life? What the hell is that? Like, why? Why? And when I asked the question, like, why would I choose that? The answer came forward. It was because I was meant to overcome it. I was meant to heal myself, to have the healer within me awakened so that I could help everyone else heal too. And as soon as I understood that, it was like, wow, all of that suffering that I went through for so long wasn't for nothing. It had a mighty purpose attached to it. And it all just made sense at that time. But then I got to ask, like, okay, soul contract to be sick. Can we say that I've been sick enough already? Can we say that that one's fulfilled now? Can we, like, clear and release that? Yes. Okay, great. Like, let's do that. So let's clear and release that. And so that's basically it. And so when I work in the Akashic Records, one part of it is gathering the information and understanding what's happening. And you can ask information about anything. But then the other piece is that I do energy healing at the soul level in your Akashic Records. So anything that's unresolved, I can actually clear everything away if there's something that you're ready to be done with. And then we offer forgiveness at the level of the soul because it's the forgiveness that actually allows you to let it go and to truly be done with something. And then I do light language to fill them back up and activate dormant things within them so that they can really be whole and be who they came here to be.
That's an incredible, I'm like, that's just an incredible journey. Stasha and I were just looking at each other like, oh my goodness.
Well, you know what? When I had a friend who was learning to read Akashic
Okay.
Records, and she asked me one time if she could take a glimpse and see what she could see. And I said, sure, So she said, you have a friend who you are feeling guilty because you're taking a lot from this friend, but you
Mm,
have to understand that your friend has been through several lifetimes with you and she betrayed you terribly.
yes.
And she told me the story of what happened in that past lifetime and was like, she's now making it up to you. So, really, you need to release that guilt and just let her make it up to you. Do you suffer from painful periods? If so, schedule a call with me. I'll pop the link in the show notes. We'll chat. We'll see what you've tried, what's been going on, and if I can help. And I will give you a whole list of things that you can try. No sales pressure, no guilt. I'm literally on the planet to help stop painful periods. So if you have a painful period, message me, click the link below, and let's get started.
Mm,
And, stop trying to compensate and push onto her your guilt or that kind of thing, but just let it go. Just be friends, accept the help with love and kindness and maybe some forgiveness, and
Yes.
keep moving. And I was like, oh God, that explains so much. Because then I looked back at that friendship over the years, I was like, oh God, that explains some other things too that hadn't even occurred to me, but like put it all together. And I was like, honestly, that makes so much sense. And then I kind of thought back to it and I thought, this is like science catching up, right? Epigenetics
Oh, yeah.
catching
Oh, yeah,
up with
exactly.
the woo, right? Like this is where
Yes.
science is just trying to catch up with the woo a little bit. And and
Yes.
I often say that because I have a chronic illness as well. I have endometriosis. It's horribly
Okay.
painful. It's been happening since I was
Mm,
my first period. So I was young, very
yeah.
young when it started. And I felt the same way. I was like, yeah, but if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. And what I'm doing now is educating other people to go out and be coaches. Like not only did I do
Yeah.
it in my own practice, but now I'm certifying coaches to go out there
Right.
and help other women with period problems. So now we're, getting out there in the bigger numbers. And that was it. It was like, okay, I can see how
The
this
purpose.
journey led me to this place. And is there still things that could be cleared and released?
Yes.
100%, absolutely.
Yes. I'm
Like,
like, yes.
yeah, 100%. Oh, absolutely. And when you were talking about the patterns that show up in your life, I was like, oh, I can see one here and one there, and oh, this pattern and this one is,
Hmm.
and just like the finances, right? I've had the relationships over and over again where I supported somebody until they bankrupted
Right.
me, and then I did it again, and then I did it again,
Mm.
and then I did it again. So,
Hmm.
like, you can see those relationship patterns, and then those financial patterns were intertwined. So, obviously, there was some so it's just really, I find it fascinating. It's certainly something that I just think like how many people are. And I guess this is also part of the political climate. You see how many people are just really closed off to
Disconnected.
anything and everything, and you can see on them the illness, whether they're physically ill or not, but you can see like something is wrong. And then you can see the people who are like really working to just get through this in the best way possible and make change for other people and help others. And whatever works, right? Like tree fog medicine or
Yeah.
microdosing or whatever. But like people are just trying to find those ways through these different paths that work for them. And you can see
Yeah.
that openness there and you can see that the willingness or the desire or whatever to move forward and be open. And it's just, I don't know, it's very interesting to kind of sit back and watch the world and see all of these things play
Oh,
out
yeah.
over and over, which I bet
Oh,
is fascinating for you, being able to see it so clearly.
oh, well, I have like a different view of the world now
Yeah.
completely than I used to. Even with friends, right? I'll be having a conversation with them and they'll say something. I'm like, oh, like what's that belief system connected into? Like where did that come from? Like what happened here? Or like, someone will say something about their family and I'm like, oh, there's something, oh, you inherited something over here, like
Oh,
this isn't
yeah.
even yours. You've got this thing that
Yeah.
doesn't even belong to you. And ooh, what's going on there? And then in the bigger landscape of the world right now, I see so much. I mean, right now it's like there's this divide that's happening because the earth is like separating. Literally, we're shifting into the new earth where the divine feminine is rising and women are remembering right now their power. And a big thing that's so interesting is that our menstrual cycle is sacred. And we're not taught that our menstrual cycle is sacred. We're taught that it's an inconvenience. We're taught that it's shameful, that it's dirty, that there's something wrong with us. It's something we need to hide, etc. When the reality is, it's a sacred experience that our body goes through. When we start menstruating and cycling, this is our body preparing to create life. And if there's no life to create, if there's no fertilized egg to create, we shed that full layer of ourself and it's incredibly detoxifying for our body. So it's the time of going inward and spiritually. When you are menstruating, that's the time that you're most connected into your soul. That's the time where you are receiving divine downloads and wisdom and information if you allow it, right? If instead of trying to busy yourself and be that athlete that just puts on a tampon and keeps on running, right? If we can honor our cycle and use that as the quiet internal time to go within and do that reflection, that's the time where our greatest ideas can flow through, our greatest inspiration, our greatest insight. It's really sacred. And I was reading about a woman recently who created a company that is actually collecting the menstrual fluid because it's full of stem cells,
Yeah.
and how this menstrual fluid is actually a miracle fluid, how
Mhm.
this can actually be used to recreate organs and all of this
Mhm.
stuff. And she's creating this company where you can actually send it in and it can be used for that or for yourself or for whatever, which I think is brilliant. But then it's like the menopause part too. It's like society tells us that this is when women are done, that they're forgotten, that this is like our life is over. When in reality, menopause is an initiation into our oracle, into our wisdom, right? Instead of all of that energy going downward to go toward reproduction and creation of birth and life, and it flows out of us, now that energy gets to rise up. So instead of the energy flowing down and being released, that energy turns upward. And now all of a sudden it goes from the womb to the heart to the throat, and it needs to come out as voice. So that's why women all of a sudden they just are speaking their mind. They can't hold that in. That rage is sacred rage because it's all the things that you swallowed. It's all the stuff that you didn't say before that you just can't tolerate anything that is no longer aligned anymore. So it's actually the initiation of a woman really holding her own power and stepping into her own power to shine her light and her wisdom and her magic into the world. So, all these cycles that we go through are magic. The female body is
Mm.
creation. We're the ones that sustain life on this planet. We're the ones that create life. And everything has just been out of balance for so long. We've lived in this toxic patriarchy for so long that has pushed women down. They've shamed women. They erased the goddess. They took us off our equal status with the divine masculine and divine feminine. And it's like now we're remembering. And that's why the divine feminine is rising. And that will restore that balance, that harmony back into the world. And so it's a really important time for women to come together, to be in circle with each other, to elevate one another, to bring our voices and really rise together to reclaim our place in this world so that we can live in harmony. So that's why we're seeing like all of the things falling apart right now because it's all of the unsustainable old structures that are not meant to be held up. They're meant to fall away. And we're in the time of the crumbling right now, which is very uncomfortable and painful often at times. But it's really the women, I truly believe, are the ones that are going to rebuild this world. So into something
100%.
beautiful and magical.
All
100%.
right, mic drop.
I know, for real. I remember when I was in, so endometriosis, painful periods, right? So I used to be in the bathtub a lot crying because pain.
Mm,
And I
yeah.
remember as I was in my healing journey and it was getting better and I wasn't in that pain and I was in the tub and I was just crying and I had this really distinct moment where I realized I was no longer crying for me. I was
Yes.
now crying for everyone else. Like
Yes.
it just hit me clear as day that I wasn't releasing mine anymore. There was nothing more for me to release. I was releasing others. I don't know who or what or collective or any of it. I just very
Mm,
distinctly knew that this wasn't mine. I was
yeah.
just moving it through in that
Yeah.
moment. And it was just like, oh, we need a lot more people doing this work. Like we need a lot more
Hmm.
people working on this together. And that
Yeah.
was probably 2000 something, maybe
Hmm.
like early. So 20 years ago now. And it's like, and I just saw it clearer and clearer how more and more, and really, you basically summed up my first book with that because that is exactly it. Like we were taught it was shameful, dirty, embarrassing, and in fact, it's a very
Hmm.
sacred, beautiful
Yes.
cycle. And if you give it a chance, you can really make your life easier and better and more abundant and
Right.
more everything if you embrace it. So instead of running away, run
Right.
towards and watch everything change. And that, I mean, that's ultimately, and I actually, in the Revolution Will Be Bloody, I do talk about how menstrual blood stem cells are actually better than even like bone marrow stem cells or any other
Yes.
version. They're more accessible, they're better, they're more of a, like a blank slate, I guess. I forget. It's been a long time since I did that research, but like that's again, science catching up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's
it's
so
so
true.
powerful, truly so powerful.
Yeah, it's amazing. And, no matter what kind of challenge you're having in your life, whether it's painful experiences, endometriosis, other kinds of illnesses, other kinds of things, it's just to know that it's not something that you need to fight against. Because when you fight against the symptoms, you're actually fighting yourself and you're rejecting yourself and you're in the energy of rejection. And when you're in the energy of rejection, you cannot be in the energy of acceptance. And so it's like, if you can't accept that this is what's happening in my body, if you're like, no, I just hate this, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it, and you're rejecting it so much, you're rejecting everything else in your life too. And so it's like that energy goes through all parts of your life. And so you're sitting here trying to manifest these wonderful things to come into your life and more success in your business and all of this, but you're internally rejecting yourself, then you're rejecting all the opportunities that you're trying to call in also. So it's like, no, 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 no. How can we stop rejecting these pieces of ourselves and welcome them back in? How do we accept that this is what I've got going on, and how do I integrate those lost pieces back? And now from that place of acceptance, you can do the deeper work, that digging to understand, okay, like what information does this have for me? What is the message here? What's the lesson I'm supposed to learn? What's this connected to? What am I ready to let go of? What are the burdens I'm holding that I was never meant to carry? It's like what you said with the crying in the bathtub. You're crying literally for all of your ancestors that couldn't do it. You're doing it for them. And when you do that generational healing work, you don't just heal it for yourself, you heal it for all the souls that were attached into that wound as well. So it is deeply sacred, sacred work to do that. And I think it's amazing that you were able to just intuitively tap into that on your own.
Yeah, it was not subtle.
Yeah, it rarely is.
Everything you're saying just speaks so much to me and just my personal experience in my own life and my family, my business, my relationships. Like you start to see patterns,
Mhm.
same thing with family lineage being rejected because of the religion.
Mhm.
All of it just speaks. And it's so powerful that when you talk about energy, because we are all energy.
Yes.
And a lot of us just forget that
Yeah.
day to day, right? We're just kind of living our lives and we really come back to who we are as beings and energy and how to process that. And I love that you said the word that I kept thinking was like surrendering so that you can welcome things in. And I feel like as humans, that's one of the most difficult things for us is just surrendering, myself included, 100% to allow. So
Hmm.
that's just such an important message that I'm going to continue thinking about for the rest of the day that we talked about is just that surrender.
Yeah, it's so important to let go because we try to hold on. It's like we are trying to control things that are not within our own control. And so it's like when you are mentally battling against something, you're like, oh, I don't like this. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. The amount of mental energy that is wasted, quite frankly, in the battle against it, in the hating of it, man, as soon as you can surrender and say, okay, I don't like this, but I accept that this is what I have to deal with right now. I accept this is what's going on. I'm going to surrender it. I'm going to surrender it to my higher power. God, Goddess, like you got this. Like I give this to you. You resolve it for me. Bless me with the creative solutions so that allow this to become easier for me. The moment you stop gripping so tight and you let it go and you shift into that energy of allowing, that's when all that mental energy falls away. And that's when we open up more to be able to receive the inspiration, to be able to receive those creative solutions, to create enough space for the miracle to actually come into our life.
I feel like we need to have you back so you can teach all of us how to surrender. Because every single friend, client, family member, I feel like we've all been taught to to control as a way to feel safe,
Yes.
and not feeling in control, you don't feel as safe, right?
Yes.
So I just feel like that would be a really beautiful thing to
I feel
discuss
like that's a
later.
lot of manifesting is like trying to control where you
Mhm.
don't have control. Like a lot, or at least a lot of the advice out there for it is like,
Mhm.
here's a way to control this, where that seems very counterintuitive to what
Mhm.
really is the way to like move forward, right? Where anyway, it just kind of popped into my head when you were talking about it. I was like, oh boy, that sounds a lot like a lot of the manifesting guru advice out
Well,
there is like a way to create control.
and
Yeah.
you know what's so interesting about that is that the real way to manifest isn't about calling it in and just, wishing and hoping it's going to come or trying to control the way that it's showing up. The control part that you have in the manifestation process is about you deciding that you're going to become the version of you that's capable of receiving the thing that you actually want. Because if you were that version of you that had the $1 million, you would already have the $1 million.
Mm.
So it's like, how can I become the elevated version of me that is a frequency match for that $1 million? And so it's interesting, like, even in
Mm.
the Akashic work I do, this is the fun part. So, like, yes, I can go in the past and clear and heal things from the past. We can go in the future as well because there's no such thing as time outside of our physical bodies. Past, present, future, it's all happening in the now moment. And so we can call in a future timeline where you already have the thing that you're desiring. Let's say it's the $1 million year. Okay, so I could go, okay, let's call in the future timeline where you have the $1 million year. So I could tell you everything that's happening, who you are at that, how you carry yourself, what do you do, what are the belief systems that this elevated version of you holds that you don't hold now. How far ahead of time are we now? Oh, it's in 3 years from now, where it's like I could tell you everything that's going on. But then the cool part is that we can go, okay, you're here now. You want to get up here. What's blocking you from getting from here to here? Oh, a belief system that you're not worthy of it. Oh, okay. Well, what is that belief system connected into? Oh, that's connected into these 4 lifetimes. Okay, so let's go into those. Let's see what needs to be retrieved, information, blah, blah, blah. Let's clear and release those. Okay, cool. Now that we've gotten that block out of the way, is there anything else that's blocking you from getting from here? Oh, there's a fear. What's the fear? There's a fear that something bad is going to happen to me if I have all of this money. Ah, what's that connected into? So it's like we can uncover all the different blocks that are in the way. We can release them so that your path now becomes clear and open so that you can actually become that higher, more elevated version of you that's capable of having this desire because there's infinite versions of reality. We're literally just choosing this is the one that I want right here. And then you're calibrating your energy toward it. You're just shifting your frequency so that you can actually call that in. And then sometimes we can even play with time because there's no such thing as time. And we can say, oh, can we integrate that now? Can we integrate it sooner? Yes. Okay, let's do that. And we can like call that in and integrate it into the now moment. Sometimes I get a no. It just kind of depends on that. But then we can also channel, okay, what are the next 4 steps that you should take? Like, what are the next things that you should do to get from here to here? And you can like channel a whole business plan. You can channel action plans. Like, it's super cool. So that's the fun work that I enjoy to do in the records.
I love it. Sign me up.
Yeah, I know. Right. Send me the link.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so fascinating, and it's something that people are awakening to, and it's really more about remembering to do it versus like, yes, you can get trained, and I help to train people that are interested in wanting to learn. So I do healing work for people that just, want support, and I can help them heal, clear, release, and every single layer that you let go of in your life, like you can think of it as an onion. Every time you let go of one more burden, another burden, you get lighter and a little lighter and a little lighter and a little more connected into yourself, into your soul. You get more inspired, you get more creative, you become more you than you've actually ever been before. And that's amazing. And then there's some people that are like, oh, I feel this as a calling. Like, I want to do this work. And then, yes, we can train you, like, and help you really remember because it's more about you remembering how to do it because you knew how to do this before. Those are the people that are actually going to want to learn how to read the records themselves and how to access it on their own. It's like, it's a calling to want to learn, but it's because you've already done it before. So, yeah, it's a real joy to be able to share this gift with people. And for me, it was such a beautiful doorway that just gave me so much insight and the ability to heal myself from chronic illness. And now I get to be the one that helps facilitate different kinds of miracles in other people's lives, and just see beautiful changes, whether it's in a relationship that was dealing with a lot of conflict and all of a sudden it's like they've come back together in a beautiful way, or something physically in the body, or maybe you just never could speak up before and you put everyone else's needs ahead of yours. And all of a sudden, like those people, after clearing those wounds, it's like, they have no problem speaking their mind. They have no problem setting a boundary. They have no problem doing this or that. And they're not trying to do it. They're a different person now. They're just different. That's the fascinating things. Like when you clear the energy, it's instantaneous. You feel it right away in your body because that old programming, it no longer exists. So you don't have to try to reprogram your brain. There's a lot of beautiful healing modalities where you reprogram. You don't have to reprogram because the old program no longer exists anymore. So you're just free now to be able to do what you want to do. It's interesting. I was talking to a therapist the other day and she does EMDR, and we were talking to each other and she's like, wow, what you're describing that you do in the Akashic Records, she's like, it's very similar actually to what happens in the EMDR sessions that we do. It's just like a different way of getting to it. And whereas like I can tell you all the things that are happening, but same result. It's just fascinating to me. A lot of different paths to get
That's
to the same
exactly
place.
how a friend of mine describes quantum. So she does like quantum business and quantum healing and those kinds of things.
Hmm.
She says the
Yeah,
same thing all the time. She's like, time is not a real
yeah,
thing. So what I do is I just go to a different timeline and I go, okay, well, this
yeah.
is you in a different timeline. Let's just bring you together in this one. And it's
Yes,
very similar. It's like a different version of, I would
it's a
love to
different
have
version,
the both of you at my house for tea at the same time so I could just sit
right?
there and be
Yes.
like entertained and fascinated and learn a
Same.
ton.
Let's schedule that.
Red tent time.
Yeah.
Amazing.
All right, I think we're out of time, but we have a couple of questions of the lightning round so people can get to know you better. But
Sure.
before that, tell us how people can find you, any goodies that you have that they might be interested in, like just hook us up.
Yeah, definitely. So you could go to my website, which is NicoleMixdorf.com. So Nicole is Nicole. Mixdorf is M like Mary, Ixdorf.com. And you can follow me on Instagram. It's at Nicole Mixdorf. I'm right there as well. So those are two really good spots to find me. And then, yeah, as a free gift, I have an Akashic abundance activation. So it's a meditation where I guide you into your own Akashic records to clear some money blocks and wounds and activate the energy of abundance. So that is a free gift that I have for anybody who wants it. And I will share the link with you guys.
Awesome. Thank you. That will be in our show notes for everybody. Okay, so we're going to do a quick little lightning round. Go with your gut. And the first question is, what is your favorite junk food?
Oh, Cheez-Its.
They have gluten-free Cheez-Its now. I've yet to try, but I'm very excited.
Oh, I
I
haven't
know.
tried that. That's like why I don't eat them a ton, but I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
I know. I just saw one of the in the gluten-free subreddit, somebody posted them recently, and I was like, oh, I have to just go try those.
Yes.
What's your favorite TV series?
What is my favorite TV series? Emily in Paris. I love
I
that.
love
It
it.
reminds me of like when I lived abroad when I was in school. I love that.
And the fashion and the food. Oh my God,
Yeah.
so fun. What's a household item you just can't live without?
Oh, I would say right now it's my tea kettle because I drink tea all day long.
My bio literally says I'll go anywhere as long as there's Wi-Fi and a tea kettle.
I love that. Yes.
Do you take naps?
I sometimes take naps. I'm not a huge napper, but sometimes when I do, it's like the greatest thing. And I'm like, why don't I do this more often? Yes.
Sounds lovely. All right, last question. Where was your favorite vacation spot?
Oh, that is a hard question because I have been to some really amazing places in the world. I think favorite of all time is probably the Maldives, where we went for our honeymoon. It's islands off the coast of India, and it was just so magical. Yeah, beautiful. But I love Costa Rica as well. It's where my family's actually from, and I just love being there too. So that's another big one on the list. But I have a whole list.
Oh my, I know that's a hard question for both of us to answer as well.
Yeah.
Nicole, thank you so much. I love seeing you, my friend, and I just really am so amazed with your journey and all of the things that you tried and how you really did heal yourself. And I know everybody listening is just going to feel really lit up and inspired by listening to you, mind blown as well. And thank you so much for being here. Just, I so appreciate you.
Oh, I appreciate you too, my love. Thank you. It's been an absolute just pleasure to connect with you both, really. And yeah, I look forward to staying in touch with people. And there's one more place I forgot to tell people to check out is I have a podcast as well called Healed with Nicole Mixdorf. So you can check that out too to hear more of my miraculous healing stories. You can go on there. I go into them in depth there, but yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here and to connect. You both are just amazing, and I love the messages you're sharing in the world.
Well, I know what podcast I'm going to binge over the weekend now. 100%. I could listen to those stories all day. So I'm like, I'm already got the phone out. I'm on, I'm following, I'm going to just binge.
I love it. Amazing.
Oh my gosh,
Oh,
thanks to everyone for listening. This has been phenomenal. We'll see everyone in the next episode. Bye for now.
A big shout out and thank you to our sponsors for today's episode, Period Coaching School and Katie Bressek Wellness.
thanks to you, our favorite bestie, for listening to the Period Besties podcast, where no topic is TMI. And of course, share this episode with your besties.
Remember to leave us a 5-star review, nothing less than the best for us besties, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
You can follow us on Instagram at Stasha Washburn and at Katie Bressack, or email us at periodbestiespodcast@gmail.com.
Check out more about us at katiebressack.com and periodcoachingschool.com. And of course, check the show notes for free goodies and extras that support this episode.
We'll see you on the next episode.
Bye for now, besties.